Hello everybody, I'm Tom Matuska with the Matuska Taxidermy Supply Company, and I'm at the Nebraska Taxidermy Competition with famous videographer Brett Wingfield, and Kirsten couldn't make the trip with us, and so this is in Columbus, Nebraska, and we're in the showroom, or we're in the competition room. It's kind of vacant. They're having a picnic right now, and we haven't had a lot of time to look at the mount, so we're going to kind of do this together and point out some things of interest that some real talented people from the state of Nebraska as well as neighboring states have brought to the competition. So if you want to just come with me here, you can compare this Tom to this Tom. This is a really nicely done Tom turkey. You can see these competitors go to a lot of extra work. You can notice the hardwood walnut base, natural stump log, strutting turkey on the top, magnificent paint job on the head. These people, taxidermists will know this, but a lot of you non-taxidermy people don't realize the work that goes into these type of things. This is a beautiful head, expertly painted. Feather groups are arranged really, really nice. This is a nice strutting bird. This is one of my favorites. I've seen this before. We have a raccoon. I mean, we have bacon and an egg sizzling in the pan. This competitor is by far one of the most crafty, creative people I have ever met in my life. You're gonna have to, that might be our trivia question for the day. If you can name the competitor that entered this, it might be worth something we might give away. But this is a real creative mount. Raccoon's getting into the eggs. We've got a fire here. Ooh, it's really hot. Ooh, kind of hot. Bacon's done. I've seen this a couple years ago at the Iowa show, so I'm sure that the bacon is getting pretty crispy by now. Excellent, excellent. Look at that. Look at the pelt on that raccoon. It couldn't be more perfect.
That is a cool piece. Who's cooking the eggs here?
Here's a really nice whitetail. Pretty artistic pedestal on this. Got a rock base. Probably customized, sculpted, full shoulder mannequin. Neatly groomed. I recognize the vine a little bit. That's a really pretty whitetail, very well done. These people go to extreme lengths. Nose texture, nose color, inner nasal detail. I won't point it out on all of these animals, but most of these people go to that extent. We have nictitating membranes, we have eyelashes, we have grooming, we have caruncles, inside of the ears, we have ear detail. These people pull out all the stops to enter these against other competitors.
Very nice, clean piece there.
Over here, I'm really curious. This is a running turkey, and this is pretty neat. I mean, just starting with the base, this is a really artistic presentation. We've got bronze leaves down here. We've got turkey tracks. This is extremely creative. I don't know what this is or if I should even touch it, but it might do something.
Or you just set off the alarm.
Did I? I don't know what it is. He might gobble or something. I'm not sure. I better not play with the toys. That's a very neat presentation. Standing on one leg. A turkey is a very heavy bird. Just the mechanics and the balance is well done. Very well done. And all these competitors are in different divisions. We have Masters Division, we have Commercial Division, or Professional Division, and we have Amateur Division. Here's professional division crappie. This is a crappie reproduction that's looks really nice.
Is that attached to a fallow deer, maybe?
Oh, yes it is. Yes it is. You have to look. You have to really look at these mounts because that's something that looked like a piece of driftwood to me. I would have never noticed. And it's actually a fallow deer antler with a crappie on it. Very cool. Very, very neat. Here's an amateur under 18 division. It's a bluegill going after a little, looks like a mep spinner down here. Really attractive little weathered piece of wood. Nice gloss on it. And these younger people, they enter like this until they build up their skills and their talent, and they just go up into the professional division, into the master's division, and the better they get, the farther they go.
We better make sure we don't show any numbers or any scores or anything on these sheets.
That'd be the cameraman's responsibility, I'm thinking. Here's a real nice antelope, and starting with the base, we've got sort of an arrowhead plaque, very, very handsome. Little desert earth down here, nice rope trim around here, sagebrush, depicting a habitat of a pronghorn antelope. Really nice. Nice crisp ears, nice job on the ears. The judges will look carefully at shape and drumming of the ears and hair patterns, and after you've seen enough of these, you kind of can tell a good one at a glance. Oh, here's a nice squirrel. This is a nice base. Looks like some sort of a feeder. Little stump on here, barnwood. We've got little corn down here. The squirrel's holding a little kernel of corn. Zoom in on the eyes of that squirrel. That looks like a pretty decent eye set on that little guy. Little mammals take a tremendous amount of patience. They're just smaller to work on. They take a softer touch, take a more gentle approach to the mount itself. And here's a big, looks like a big, this is another amateur under 18. Big smallmouth, appears to be a skin mount. Some of these will be reproductions where the fish is not the real fish. It's made from a mold, and it's a reproduction plastic fish, synthetic I'd rather call it. This is the actual real skin. That's a nice presentation. You can't see how the fish is connected. They try to hide any kind of attachment. We're talking slow. This is going to take till 9 o'clock. Here's a pair of mallards. We have a sleeping hen over here and a beautiful drake. And this is an amateur adult division. Nice base, nice combination of attaching the wood. Nice base with dirt, snow. This is a very nice little largemouth. You can see the artsy composition of this with the base. The wood comes off to the side. The fish appears to be almost swimming around the base. Very, very pretty. If you zoom in on the back, you can see the scales are actually tipped. Each one of these scales is individually highlighted with metallics, very similar to the real fish.
Did you see the little crawdad?
Oh, look at the little crawdad hiding down. See, I see. You really got to look. Here's a nice bobcat. Beautiful, beautiful wagon wheel. Earth base. Bobcats crawling up the wagon wheel. Something's got its attention. Very nice. Very, very nice.
Shall we touch on those on the back wall real quick?
And all around the perimeter here, we're going to miss a lot of stuff. So if you're watching this and you're not seeing your mount, we apologize because there's just too much here to take in the short amount of time that we have. most of the game heads, as I look around, are up on the wall. We start over there with a mule deer and several whitetail. Here's an antelope, a nice mountain goat, pheasant, whitetail, fallow deer, and these will have all, various levels of competition and competency, I guess. Also, you're going to have some really impressive mounts up there. And I believe they call this a melanistic pheasant. Is that the right term? They're kind of an indigo blue rooster pheasant. And this is looks like he combined a couple pieces of wood here to make a real handsome base with some natural grass and a sneaking pheasant coming through in a pose. Oh, here we have the turtle. I had someone come to the booth today and explain to us what they had entered, and this was a turtle, and I think this person said they even painted this little painted turtle with a pin.
Yeah.
Because the markings on it are so intricate, and that's a real difficult job.
I don't think that turtle's bigger than a quarter.
No, it's not. Here we have a little doe, kind of a little piebald doe. Pretty little mount. Nice Minnesota, cut out Minnesota out of walnut, it looks like. A real nice walnut base. Oh, back up, here's the skunk. Baby skunk, that was one of the first mammals that I ever did. I did a couple of baby skunks for my mother-in-law.
Did you score any points with those?
Actually, I didn't do them. I did them for a friend, but my mother-in-law wanted them and always wanted them. And no, I got no points.
Did you cut the glands? Did you hit the glands?
No, I was very careful. But I did them in taxidermy school, and they said, here, we're going to take you down to the garage. Don't call us, we'll call you when you're done. Wrap the bodies and everything.
Sure.
You have a nice Drake mallard looking down. This competitor put nice water down here, made as rock. We have moss, earth, grasses. Here's a pretty little bluegill. It looks like a piece of wood that they glossed real heavily, and nice little bluegill swimming off the side of the wood. Pronghorn antelope. You see people get real crafty with bases. I mean, this is like a Greek pillar, if I had to guess, mount. It makes kind of a handsome presentation. And everybody knows I'm not the snake lover you might think. This is a big old diamondback, and this person has a real skull here, whitetail skull, and this snake is coiled up in a striking position. Here's a pretty bluegill reproduction, and they made a really nice base with the pebbles and a piece of granite down here. Here again, this person, I think I know who this is, spent some time coloring the scales individually. And look at the detail. You ice fishermen, you'll appreciate this. We have an ice fishing scene. I mean, it's crafty from top to finish. Here's top to bottom. Here's a bluegill that the fisherman caught laying on the ice. Nice paint job on that bluegill. These are synthetic fish, fiberglass fish. We got our little bait here, our little wigglers. Nice crappie, fishing rod. There's a bluegill down in the ice hole. This person put a lot of thought into this. Nicely done.
Pretty cool.
We've even got, I mean, they used like a backsplash that you see on cupboards to make a rock base down here on a walnut. That's a lot of work went into that, and it pays off. It just looks nice.
A few more whitetail up here on the wall.
Lots more whitetail on the wall. Mule deer. And being in Nebraska, you're going to find snakes. Here's another. This is a nicely, to me, nicely done snake. Judges will look for symmetry, for lumps and dips and bumps. They'll look for lifted scales. They'll look for coloration. They'll look at the eye set, color of the eyes, tongues. We got snakes coming out of the woodwork here. Here's an antelope. Looks like a little rattler down by the antelope. It's a half an antelope. And now these people, here's how crafty they get. You can see this antelope is frightened by that snake. You can look at his focus. You know, they actually have the white of the eye, and he's leaning off to the side like the snake surprised him. It's a kind of tells a little story in the mount itself. Too much creativity. Here's a blue and a snow goose coming in. We got the corn stalks. Any of you that shoot a lot of geese will recognize that scene. And here we got a big grizzly. Nicely done. Grizzly's noted for his shoulders, for his mass of his front end, from his power in his forearms. Just looking at this animal, you look at, you know, live grizzlies and you're gonna recognize the power that's in this front end. Take a look at the mouth. I mean, that mouth just looks wet. It looks nice. Inner nose is wet. Beautiful, beautiful pelt on that bear. We have a little bobcat kitten over here playing with a butterfly, flowers, kind of a little prairie scene. And over here we have one of the judges, and he tried to get out of this. I won't bother you. But you can just look at how closely he's looking at this. These people have to fear this guy because he's going to find every symmetrical discrepancy. He's going to find every flaw. He's going to find every craftsmanship mistake this person made, and he's noting it on his score sheet. And these competitors will get a critique at the end of the show, and he will show them where they could have done better, techniques that would have helped them. These mounts are gone over with a fine-tooth comb, and this is one of the toughest whitetail judges in the world. You can tell by the glasses. And here's a youth division. We have a painted skull. Looks like a steer skull, a beast skull of some sort. We got whitetail skulls, bobcat skulls, more whitetail skulls, all creatively painted by these little entrants.
Clint Rickey says, nice glasses, James.
And for those of you that didn't recognize him, that is James Graham. Here's a walleye chasing a school of shad. I think James has his work cut out for him. There are a lot of deer here.
Big moose.
Big bull moose. And we're just going around the perimeter. We haven't even got to the middle. Now here's another very artsy piece. This almost resembles a little bit of the idea of the fallow deer antler, with a really nicely painted bluegill. A lot of scale highlights and painting on that. This almost looks like a patina. Very nice. And if you look up on the wall here, there's a nice mountain lion coming down the rocks. These people make all the rocks from scratch. They put all the muscling in these animals, put all the detail in these animals. And we have a rooster pheasant, big old mature rooster pheasant walking on a base. And these bases don't have to be ultra decked out with weeds and grasses and rocks. They can also be, this is very simple and very attractive, just walking on a nice hardwood base. There's another one. It's a nice simple base, crappie swimming with a couple rocks the entrant made with a piece of wood. My phone quit texting me. That means Mandy finally realized that we started.
She's on.
We've not done this unsupervised before, so it's a little bit dangerous, and I'm sure she's on pins and needles because sometimes I say things that make her squirm.
I think we started a couple minutes late. It probably made her nervous.
That's why I got all these texts going. Here's a rooster on a fence post. Anybody's hunted pheasants have driven down the gravel road and seen a scene like that. And here's a really nice emperor goose. This entrant even went to the extent of barnacles on the rocks, attractive black rocks that look really nice with the black water that looks like depth. Beautiful walnut base. And not being a bird person, I'd have to say that's a pretty darn nice looking
very nice
grooming on that bird. Up on the wall here, we've got more deer. We have a widgeon. And we have a little boar. And here's a Mike Orthover score sheet. I'll just fill this in for him. You know, I can probably do it. Wings, yep, has some. Legs, 2.
Both eyes.
We had one of the best pets, and Mandy, if you ever talk to her, one of the best pets we ever had was our pet bobwhite quail that we raised, hatched from an egg, and it made an unbelievable pet, and it was one of the brightest creatures we've ever had in the house. Oh my gosh.
And that's it?
End of the story?
No.
That, it would look just like that. And we called him Lucy. Here's a tarantula.
Oh, no, wait a minute.
We caught one time on an elk hunting trip, and we were driving down the highway, and they were migrating. That's a nice looking job. And we caught him, and we about went in the ditch because we thought he got out of our little Hardee's cup that we had him in. Here's a nice black duck. Snow base, nice wood. And here's kind of a buff colored Canada goose. And open mouth, they finished inside of the mouth. Walking through the snow, they've made all the snow. That's kind of a good looking bird eye, if I had to say so myself. I think there's a little nictitating membrane in there.
Yep. Yeah.
Here's a javelina. Got cactus down on the base, typical of their habitat. And a golden pheasant. It's kind of interesting because when we're at the booth, competitors come through and they will say, what did you bring? And they tell us, but we talk to so many people and they say, somebody said I brought a turtle, another person said I brought a javelina, you know, so we kind of know who brought what, but the judges aren't allowed to. This is a common starling, and the starling is a small bird, not an easy specimen, and the coloration of the plumage on the starling, you look at them as an old blacky brown bird, but they're stunning in coloration when you get up close.
I like that piece.
That's real.
Composition's
That's
very
real
nice.
artsy, isn't it?
Yeah, just a really nice.
The judges
flow.
look, especially in the Masters division, they look at they call it composition. You want, you know, flow. You want the piece to flow. You want it to look not thrown together. Here's a big ruffed grouse, big red one. They got morel mushrooms. Any of you?
It's that time of year, isn't
It's
it?
that time of year. Everybody's getting lots of morel mushrooms. And here's a white-tailed deer. Look at that base. That took a lot of work. Kind
Big
of
deer.
it's almost like they made it out of carved it or something. We have a fisher and a bobcat up here in a fighting position. There again, this competitor has a big old walnut base. Really nice rock platform that they can hold the animals. There's lichen, there's ferns, little
Why
vines.
can't they just get along?
Why can't they just get along? I mean, we got bobcat claws here. We've got teeth. We got a lot of action going on. The only thing you're missing is the snarls. This is a nice black bear. This is interesting. Look close. You have a bear in water. You've got pond weeds. Excellent job of water down here. It's on like a velvet temporary base. It looks like. Look at the water on the face. This bear evidently has a deer that it found and is probably feeding on. Little focus in the eyes going on, a little white in this corner, a little white on this corner. He's looking at my cameraman.
I'm not scared.
Zebra, nice clean looking zebra. Cedar base, little piece of furniture to go.
Yeah.
That's how your wife will let these things be in the house, as if you incorporate furniture into it. Here's bobcat climbing down a big old piece of cedar. Big bobcat. Here's another real artsy piece. You've got a big white-tailed deer here. Nice drop tines on him. Well done on the nose, face. This is an artsy little piece.
Very nice. I like that.
And
look at that guy.
look at this guy. Here you got a big whitetail. We got a very lifelike tongue. It's very wet up in there, I can see. We've got apples. The back is finished off really pretty. Beautiful wood. Nice setting. The Nebraska Taxidermists have a really nice, exceptional organization here. Everybody is, you know, kind of treats us like family, and an advanced group of competitors, I would say, from the work that we see in this room. There's some super talented people down here. Look at this crafty guy. We've got a big broadhead holding the pedestal. We've got a nice octagon base down here. Looks like a laser cut scene. We've got the pine trees. We've got the bow hunter on the tree stand. And to top it all off, you've got a pretty decent looking white-tailed deer mount here. And again, you look at those eyes, they look pretty lifelike. The judge is gonna, you know, pick it apart with a fine-tooth comb, but that's a nice deer. Surface of the texture of the nose has been rebuilt. The coloration looks nice. Inside of the nostrils is finished. Nice crisp ears, beautiful grooming. The object is to try to make these animals even nicer looking than they did in nature. And this is a really nice black bear. Look at the detail inside of the mouth. Look at that wet mouth. The gum line, the teeth, the coloration of the teeth, the tongue, the palate of the mouth. I mean, it looks real. The eye set, the texture of the nose, color of the nose. Beautiful rock work. This just looks like a mossy, wet area where black bears like to hang out. And here we have quite an assortment coming up of different pedestals. White-tailed mule deer. Wrong way. Oh, you want me there? He's pointing at where I'm supposed to go. I mean, look at this. This is pretty nice. Very attractive. Barnwood type base.
Very cool. We're getting into some masters mounts, aren't we? Oh, I think those might be professional.
Professional.
This bear
right
was masters.
Masters is the big bear. Look at the pelt on this bear. Anybody that's been around bears, bears have nice fur, but this is exceptional.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
You know, as taxidermists, we appreciate that, you know, working with an animal like that and trying to do it justice, because that's special. Here's a nice mule deer. You can see the velvet and the antlers that is left on. Nice, pretty base, nice natural habitat. Here's a big old heavy horned whitetail.
Ooh, that's a big deer.
Nice base, very natural. Looks like a fence post back here. A little bit of barbed wire. Set him off. Nostrils are flared a little bit. He's smelling something. The object is, and the reason I'm going through this in so much detail is because we have a lot of non-taxidermists watching, and a lot of people don't realize what we try to accomplish. We don't just do a mounted white-tailed deer, for instance. We actually try to put an expression. What's this deer doing? Flare his nostrils, he's smelling of something. Put his ears in a position like that. He's focused behind him. All of that stuff's really, really important in addition to the habitat.
We've neglected to mention some of the viewers. We've got Shep Brown viewing. Shep's a regular viewer for us. John from Trophy Masters says, I'm watching from Texas. Douglas Montgomery, Thad Carr. Those are just a few.
Good, good. I love hearing those names. That's the highlight of this whole thing for me, is seeing the names and the likes and the hearts and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And the people that keep coming back. Shep, I love you watching our stuff, but you got to get a job. I love you watching our stuff. I feel bad tearing you away from something important.
That's funny.
Here's another nice white-tailed deer. Look at this guy. He's got the case down here. We've got like maybe a shed antler. We got some corn the deer was. I mean, this whole thing tells a story. We've got habitat. We've got a little old snaggy branch, which kind of comes up and ties into this one. We've got an old gate hinge, keep out sign. This person did not leave out much other than I don't see the tractor.
Back end of the pickup. It's in
We
there.
got moss down. We got deer tracks. I'm missing stuff because there's going to be more in here. Here's a nice antelope. Look at this face.
Very pretty.
The Nebraska people are by far some of the craftiest, most creative taxidermists we see. They do a beautiful job.
Jennifer Shelton, that's another name we recognize
Yes.
as our weekly viewer.
And here's a white-tailed deer, and you notice that we have big animals, we have little animals, we have deer with big antlers, we have deer with little antlers. It does not have to be a trophy buck to do well. It can be any kind of a deer. It's how well the specimen is done, no matter the size. This is a nice one. It's got a nice barnwood base, beautiful rocks, nice lichen. You can kind of look at this base and compare it to another one we saw somewhere around here that's a little on the similar side.
Bill Kittner says, hey from West Virginia.
Thanks for watching, you guys. Thanks a lot. Here's a Corsican ram. Nice little mount, beautiful base, simple earthwork here, little sagebrush, some grasses, nice little piece of wood to hold the ram. Now this is something I've not seen. This is an interesting method of making a base with just one by wood put together in a neat little pedestal like that. That's
nice.
Fun. I like that. We have a little mule deer.
This poor deer behind you is the one that James was picking apart when we were last over here.
Well, we kind of have an inside track on this deer too. Can I say we know this competitor?
No, I wouldn't.
Can't say. We don't know the guy that did
No.
this, and we don't like him either.
Haha.
Kind of a doofus.
We just got a looking good honey from Mrs. Matuska.
Oh no, she's supposed to be driving.
Uh-oh. No watching and driving, Vicky. Make
Over
another
hill.
judge stop.
Yeah, we got Bill Newman here,
Hey guys.
and he's pouring over this grizzly bear. Tell him what you're looking for. I mean, you were feeling pretty hard around that bear's head.
Yeah, there's a lot of, there's some issues. We're trying to figure out what's going on. We've got, I think maybe he had some drumming issues or something, and probably tried injecting something and squirted out into the hair. And
I've done
didn't
that.
get cleaned out of the hair and left it. So, yeah, we're trying to determine what happened there, what the big clump in the hair was and everything. And yeah, we're going down the score sheet, and we're looking at the eyes and every section of the animal, but we're looking at each section of the bear in accordance with the score sheet, and trying to help the competitor out. If they're doing something wrong or if they're doing something right, try to point them in the right direction and help them out and get them, if they're off track a little bit, try to get them on center and help them out to, excel at their skills and stuff, and get them up into higher ribbon placement if we can, and get some critiques with them, and
Thanks.
some one-on-ones with them.
Great insight. And Bill is so critical and picks stuff apart so much that he has to have Lance write for him, and Lance gets writer's cramp because he's writing paragraphs on these poor animals.
It actually it always goes a lot faster when you have a scribe. A lot faster. You probably knock off a couple hours through the night by having somebody help you scribe, because you can sit there and go through everything, and they can be circling it or writing it down as you're doing the hands-on part of it and looking at the stuff. So yeah, definitely speeds up the process.
And if anybody wants to know who this guy is, Google Bill Newman, and you will see some of the most fabulous taxidermy work of anybody.
Thank you. So,
Bill Douglas Montgomery says, "Tell Bill he does an outstanding seminar."
all right, great, good. Glad hopefully it helped out. So
Thanks a lot.
all right, you guys, good luck. Have fun.
Okay, we're about to wrap it up. Did we
I think we
miss
got to go
anything?
the inside on
Oh,
this
this side?
one. Yeah,
All right.
we're not done yet.
We're not done. Oh, sorry. Mule deer, another nice pedestal. These are pretty popular. Octagons, nice octagon base. We got sagebrush, we got grasses, nice earth base, fence post, pretty little mule deer.
Clint Rickey says Bill is the best. I don't know what Clint's trying to do here.
What's that?
Clint Rickey says
you're the
Bill's the best.
Oh. Clint.
Okay, now look at this crafty one. This guy, I'm seeing a lot of these little metal corners on these bases. Got a nice little habitat base down here. Gnarly old piece of scrub cedar. Another base up here, holding the jumping black coyote. Pretty crafty. Isn't it?
Very cool. Neat specimen too.
Oh, this is a nice pheasant. Look at this. This is a Reeves pheasant. Nice snow base. Nice job arranging the feather groups. That's a pretty bird. Look at that base to put him on.
Yeah.
There's a little white-tailed buck on a tall. Looks like this is burnt. I used to do bases like that. I'm not sure that's what it was, but I used to burn them with a torch. It takes forever. Pretty deer. There's so many. You miss there's so many deer in here. You just can hardly pick out the good ones. There's so many, and they're overwhelming with the amount. And look at this. There's a deer. We've got a pine tree. This is like a wall pedestal, finished on the back, and kind of a real artsy, leathery type print. Competitor made his rock. Prairie flowers.
I don't know if you can say that's a his.
Did I say his? Oh, maybe it's a hers.
Maybe it's
The
a
flowers
hers.
are a giveaway, aren't they?
And I don't know.
Big black bear. Another nice coat on that black bear. You'll see the rocks, the lichen. This person painted all their own lichen. These people actually spend a lot of time studying stuff like this, taking photos of things like that, just to add interest to the mount.
Look at the whitetail.
And then we have a whitetail down here. And again, get a good close-up shot of that mouth and that bear's eyes and nose. Pretty cool, huh?
Yes, it is. Reconnect to poor service. there, we're back.
And that guy with the funny glasses is squiggling up his forehead.
We gotta come around it.
Look at that, those wood ducks, wowee.
Pretty.
Those are good looking wood ducks. Now these people on a bird like this, they will actually rebuild the eye ring. Ducks will have a ring around their eyes, but it's very predominant on a wood duck. They actually rebuild those eye rings. The bills, depending on the division, are probably, the heads and bills are probably made by the competitor. The feet are often cast by the competitor. They'll take the real feet and make a mold of them and make artificial feet to minimize shrinkage. We have nice water down here. Look at the patina on the plants. Nice, looks like a Walnut Creek base on a pretty black pedestal to adorn the water, to match the water. That's attractive. And we're not done with the crafty stuff. Look at this. Look at this. Okay, start at the bottom. This person went to a lot of work. Down here we've got plants mimicked all the way down underneath this heavy metal base. Nice wrought iron twist up here. Look at all these bronzed oak leaves. Look at this pheasant tail carved into that piece of wood that the pheasant is standing on. Too crafty.
Pretty cool.
Here's an interesting one. Here's a little buck, and he's polishing his antlers and rubbing the velvet off his antlers on a small sapling. Big sapling, actually. No more sap, actually. Nice little deer, good looking eyes. They've even gone to the extent to put a little scrape above the eye that he probably inflicted from the tree. Has Mandy commented at all? Is she watching, or?
Oh yeah.
Is she? How are we doing so far?
We'll see if she's paying attention.
Here's my very special judge.
No, I thought you were done with that.
We're just getting started. This is world champion Mike Orthiver.
Oh.
And he's in charge of fish and birds, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you got your work cut out for you. There's some nice stuff in here.
Yes, there is.
And
a lot of it.
There is. And Mike took an extended lunch break trying to get out of this little quip.
I thought I avoided it, but I didn't. So I'm gone.
No, you can't escape the camera.
Here. Mike, again, is one of the most talented taxidermists you will ever find, and he won't say that, but he is well versed in everything from fish to birds to any creature you're going to want to pick out. He does it better than anybody. And he's the person for the job. Oh, yeah.
I can do it pretty good.
You can do it pretty good. Yes, you can.
Done it for a couple
I
years,
should
haven't
be
you?
after doing it for 40-some years. I should be able to do it pretty
Time flies, doesn't
I
it?
know it.
Mike and I have been in this so long that animals have started to evolve, so we got to learn all over
That's
again.
right.
You know,
You gotta
this
relearn
evolution thing really takes its toll on us old guys.
Yeah. Cool.
All right,
Well,
you go
thanks
to
a lot.
work.
I'm
We
going
won't
back to
bother you.
work. Okay.
Thank you so much. And look at this. We got brick base down here. We got a nice walnut hollow. I think I kind of recognize this woodwork, so I'm able to point it out. Might be wrong. We've got we got a glove. See, you got to look for this hidden stuff. Here's a glove. Look at the back wood burning in the back of the leather. We got barnwood.
Kind of skipped over a nice whitetail over here too.
That is a nice one. Nice drop tine. Look at that. Yeah, we did. Mike walked in right when I was getting to it. These deer they actually rebuild the septum. Every creature, just like you do, has a septum, separating nostrils. This deer has a septum. He has blood vessels. You just keep looking there. We're going to shine a light and see how good this guy did.
No pressure.
No pressure. We have no idea whose it is, but I would not want it to be mine. Okay. Can you see anything through there?
I can. Look at that. Oh, there's the light. Look at that. See right through.
See? And look at those eyes. Oh, I'd kill me if I were them. There's a tag on there, metal locking tag. Nicely groomed deer. How'd we do?
I think we did pretty
Did
good.
we cover them all? I apologize if we missed anybody. Lori, this is Mike's best half.
My lovely bride.
Lovely, right? Thank goodness she can write.
And she's gonna write so everybody can read their score sheets.
I know.
There you go. Hey, we need to get some advice from the judges.
Okay.
Let's go around the room one time real
Advice.
fast.
All right. Advice from you. Tell a couple things bird people need to look for.
Bird people?
Work on.
Well, the thing I probably write on the score sheets the most is that they need to taxi the skin forward on their body and neck and head on their birds.
Everybody wants to pull it back.
They always seem to get the skin pulled back. I think that goes with mammals a lot too, but birds especially, because it sort of ruins the shape of the bird. It gets it too long and skinny, and notice birds when they're alive, they're full and their neck is fat looking.
That's a
Not
huge
because it's
tip.
fat, because the feathers are all fluffed up, pushed together.
So I'm not
Skin.
fat. I can just say my feathers are
You don't have any
full of-
feathers.
Pull your shirt up.
Feathers
Pull your
first.
shirt up.
So that's that and the leg shapes and leg balance and things like that. Them are probably the two biggest things that people have problems with.
Do you like cast feet or injected feet? Whichever.
I like whatever kind look the most like
Looks the
bird feet.
nicest.
So if you know how to cast them well enough and you can paint plastic feet to look like feet, then they're great. The trouble with cast feet is you have to be able to pose them before you mount the bird, which is not always that easy to get it right.
And you have to
Bird will look
paint
right
in a
when you
little
finish.
depth, I bet, too.
You have to paint the depth. Of course, real feet are the same thing. They dry and they're yellow brown color. You know, the feet on that golden pheasant are yellow and whatever. They're not brown, so you have to be able to paint that foot so it has depth of color, and it actually looks like a bird foot. Actually, the feet on the starling are really well painted. They look very fleshy. Starling's foot is sort of fleshy looking. They have you can see the little light pink in between the scales. You can see the skin through between the scales. I mean, them are really, really well painted. Whoever did this bird did a really nice job. Even the bill, this is a cast head, and the bill is really well painted. I mean, I shot 1 billion starlings in my day, and I kind of think maybe there should be a little more yellow here at the base, but short of that, it's very real looking bill. So I did a really nice job. It's finish work.
Yeah, that's a nice piece.
Bird people don't do a lot of really good finish work either because they're working with feathers, so they don't tend to do a lot of finish work on their birds like they really should. But the birds
Interesting.
need painting just like a fish, the bill and the feet, like doing a fish. So
Thanks.
That's right.
you bet.
That was extremely
Thank you.
helpful. Extremely. Okay, James, we weren't going to bother you, but we had people ask for tips from the judges. So what would you say for advice from what you're looking at here? People can work on or
A couple things. Don't take for granted that the form you're working on is anatomically correct. A lot of them, same thing, writing down the same stuff on the score sheets. And they're taking for granted that what they're mounting on is correct. The other thing is, the big thing is use a lot of reference. For whatever you're trying to do, use a lot of reference. Ear butts are the hardest for most people, and lots of good ear butt anatomy reference would really help you out.
Cool. Perfect. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
We'll let you get back to work. Sorry. Bill, we're coming again.
Yeah.
We had requests for suggestions to work on from the judges.
Questions for what?
Suggestions that you would say, from what you've seen in here, what should these people be spending their time working on?
Finish work always seems to be a major one, and the blending of colors. You see a lot of people use either just flesh and a dark brown or a black. So they don't have any colors in between, and so there's no color blending, and light to dark is a really harsh transition. So to make it look better, you know, you could start with a flesh color, and a lot of times the flesh that we buy, you know, is really bright when you spray it into a nostril or whatever. So you could tone that flesh real gently with like a cocoa brown or some type of tan, just to knock the initial brightness of that flesh down. And you don't want to overdo it. What you're doing is just toning the brightness of that flesh down. Then you're going to come behind that and start working your way out with a few other colors like rich browns and dark browns, and then you're going to start your application, like say for on a bear nose. Typically you don't want to use a black, but you can make that nose look black with dark brown just by start to bring that dark brown out a little bit further and a little bit further, and it's going to start to appear black at some point. So yeah, a lot of color blending. So try to integrate, you know, more than 2 colors. Try to hit that 4, 5, or 6 mark when you're blending a lot of these colors, and even around the eyes, the nostrils. You know, noses are one of the biggest things where there's a lot of color transitions going into those nostrils, and even into the lip lines and everything. So yeah.
Nice.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Now we get to wrap it up.
I think so. I think that was our wrap
This was
up
a long
for
one, I think, wasn't
2018. Yeah, I think we did pretty good.
Thanks
Like and
for
share.
thanks for watching.
Yeah,
Thanks
lots of hearts and bubbles and all that good
thanks
stuff.
to the judges for letting us bother them.
Yeah.
This has been pretty enlightening. There's some really nice work here. Again, we're at the Nebraska Taxidermy Show and Competition in Columbus, Nebraska, and there's some pretty talented people here. I think if you watch this video, you'll see all kinds of really creative ideas. And a lot of people say, I'm just not that creative to come up with something like that. You don't have, I mean, you can look at some of this and adapt it into your own version, you know. You can, I don't want to say copy people's stuff, but if you see something you really like, do it in your fashion, you know, your material, something that you're familiar to work with. Maybe you're not a metal worker, do it in wood. Maybe you're not a woodworker, do it in metal. Maybe you're neither, do it in a branch, you know. And then don't forget, don't spend so much time on your habitat that you forget about your entry, you know. It's more about the mule deer than the habitat, and a lot of people get a little bit carried away in that, and I've done that myself. You have so much fun designing this, you know, tower that you forget about the animal. But anyway, it was kind of fun showing you all these different things, and I hope those of you that aren't familiar with taxidermy, you learned a lot, and I hope those of you that are that can't be here with us, got to see some great work from the Nebraska taxidermists.
Yeah, so like and share this. Again, this is Matuska Taxidermy, and we are live every Thursday at 4:30 Central. Today we took Thursday off and came
A sabbatical.
out here. Yeah, came out here to the Nebraska show. Next week we will be Thursday again at 4:30, and we are gonna do change out heads.
And the question was,
Ooh,
the question that we started out with,
who is that competitor
that did the frying pan? Who mounted that nice frying pan?
Who fried the eggs and made sure the bacon didn't burn?
That's the trivia question.
And we will have a giveaway next week.
Yeah, we'll give away next
Thursday.
week.
So comment, like, share your answers, and we're gonna wrap it up.
Okay,
from
as
Nebraska.
we walk up here, let's give one more shot.
Okay. Hey, we should say hi to Lori Gonering too. Lori just checked in.
Okay, the trivia question is, who did this creative masterpiece? And I'll give you a hint. It's the name of a car.
All right. There we have it.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Brett.